scary, really. In the production line, I don't even call it production line, it's a production room, it's a tiny one. We have this, which is, I don't even know what it is when I saw it the first time, right? It's a scale. So everything there was like in a time capsule, which was freezed maybe 60 years ago. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out how to go on with these things. By the time, I joined the company for maybe 6 months, my grandfather passed away. So I was alone, which is even scarier, okay? We only have like one product back then. As it looks, this hasn't changed for maybe 40 years since this was started, right? It didn't even have a barcode. And that was in 2007 where barcode is a standard. Let me bring you back to 2007. It's the year that the first iPhone was introduced by Steve Jobs. So it's not that even long ago, right? But everything in there was so, 40s or even 50s, right? This particular product was only known in the South. So we only sell 99% of our product sales are in the south part of China because it's a powder, which when we use it, you have to mix it with water. So it's kind of like a very old-fashioned powder. People don't use it anymore these days. We only sell it in the south in a very selective stores. You could call it a rare item where it's very difficult to find. And if you happens to find it one source, when you come back, you probably not going to find it again because they probably ordered it once. That happens a lot. So I try to modernize it per se. I have been talking with the younger people that use seasoned powder. This is the classic seasoned powder. They said, my packaging is very, I cannot think of the English words. Not boring, but not even outdated. They said it's irrelevant. That would be more of the what thing they use. Now, what I'm trying to be more relevant, of course. I don't have any money to hire a graphic designer, so I did it myself. I thought I have a pretty good graphic skill, which I don't. I actually, this is all the package I changed, right? What I did is that, you look at this is an angel. It's more like a very tight angel. I changed the angel size to be a little bit bigger, smaller, and bigger again. That's pretty much what I can do, right? So when I finished doing this, the customer said, this one, which is the first one I started out with, and this one, which is the last one I used before I rebrand the product, it's actually the same. You don't need to do it. It's like a waste of money. So that's kind of the first lesson I learned in the business. Now, to be able to moving forward, I think we have to do like drastic change. That's words alone is very scary. Okay, so I tried to do some changes. I read a lot of changes book and stuff. I find one thing that change is very hard. Not just for people around you, but for yourself as well. The reason it's hard is that you either in either one of the situation, right? The first situation you are in is this one. You have a very good business, everything is good, it's on here, right? You have a lot of resources, you have a lot of momentum, your company is profitable, but it's very hard to convince people because people don't want to change when things are good. Right? When things are bad, which are here, okay, it's very hard to change. Not because people don't want to change. They do want to change now because things are bad. But you don't have any resources anymore. Or if you have, it's very little. This is true with everything. If you think about it. Your health as well. You don't want to exercise if you don't get sick. Most of people don't. So, you're here. And then before you know it, you're here. Right? So it's both difficult in their own way. But you do have to change. So I found that one thing of mine doing the change at the company, I have been working here for 11 years. I still change, trying to change a lot of stuff here. I found that one thing that is very important when you talk to your team about change is that most people always talk about this, how great we're going to be when we change, right? On the top of the curve. Right? We rarely talk about how difficult it's going to be before you change it. So this part is more important. You have to tell them that it's going to be difficult. You're going to have to put a lot of work in, right? Now, the company that don't change, we saw a lot of them. Sears is the latest example, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot more. But if you do change, you reinvent yourself, you're going to be like IBM or even Domino's, the pizza company, which I love very much. They have a lot of inspirational story to tell. So change is like a road always under construction. If you cannot think of an example, think of an example of the road in Bangkok, right? We always construct the road and then kind of destroy it again and do it again. It's kind of like our way of constructing the road. So the road is always under construction. Before you do any change, I think this is a good framework to ask yourself. I didn't think of this myself. This comes from the who is it? Al Gore. Yeah, Al Gore said it in Lisbon last year. I was in that event. He said that when you want to change, you have to ask yourself 3 questions. The first question is that, do we really have to change? Do we might not need to change? Right? This is not a fashionable thing. It has to be an situation that you really need to change. The second one is that, can we change? Do we have the resource? Do we have the people? Do we have the knowledge? The answer to this question is that we probably don't have it all, but still, regardless of that, we still need to change. The last one is the most important question. Will we change? Because even though you have all the resources and all the reasons you need to change, but if you don't want to change, nothing's going to happen. So we decided to change, and one of the books that I have to give the credit to is that it's a book called Leading Change. The writer name is John Cotter, I think. He's a professor at Harvard, and this book is very old. It's printed in 1988, but it's still very relevant today, right? So I use this framework and implemented it in my company, and it actually works up to today. So basically, this framework tells you that when you want to change, you have to have a structure. You don't throw change policy without a structure. You have to have a structure to support it. It's kind of like building a house. If you like trying to change your entire house by buying one new sofa, it's not going to work. You have to change like the whole thing, right? So one of the most important thing of change, I think, is step 3. We talked about vision a lot. Now, why vision is so important? It's very important of 2 reasons. First of all, it's kind of a direction for your company. Obviously, you know that already. But the second reason, which is equally important, is that it's maintaining your talented and recruiting your talented. If you don't have a right vision, you're not going to have a right people, right? Because actually, vision is where people kind of get motivated by vision. Because your vision, the company's vision, it has to align with the people's purpose of their life. If they want to learn, do they want to grow in responsibilities? Do they want to get to contribute to others or to be recognized for their achievements? These are purposes. We probably have like 100 of these, but your vision has to align with the people that work for you in order to recruit them and in order to maintain, their interests or everything in your company. So I did this by myself, which is a very difficult thing to do, I can tell you that. But communicating the vision outside of the company is probably one of the most important job of the leader. So back in when I did the big changes, 2012, I think, so that was like 6 years ago. We are still a very small company back then. We have a very outdated product, and we are very unattractive in the job market, you can say that. I used to post for marketing manager in Jobs EB, which is a very popular portal for people who find jobs. I have one, resume sent to me, one. It's just very scary. So at that point, I think I have to do something. You don't have money. So it's kind of difficult to communicate without any money, but it's actually doable. So I start doing this. I write a blog, not about myself, but about what I think about the world around me, about the economics, about the business, especially about marketing, which is what the company did. Right? So I started writing it 6 years ago. the first blog I wrote got 3 likes on Facebook, and it's maintained about that till maybe up to 6 months. I wrote 2 every week, and it got like 3 likes, 5, maybe 10. 10 is like it's a reason for separation already for 10 likes in Facebook. But one day, when you keep doing stuff like this, one day something good will happen. So one day, this publishing, what do you call the editor, right, calls me from one of the publishing houses. They said, "Do you want to write a book?" I said, "This is like one of my biggest dreams. I wrote it since kindergarten that I want to be a writer. My mom still keep that paper that I wrote. So yeah, I want to be a writer, but I'm very worried about you." I talked to the editor, right, and he asked why. I said, I don't think my book's gonna sell. So I'm worried about you. How much are you gonna print my book? He said 3,000 is the minimum for it to be economical. I said, that's gonna be difficult because if you print around maybe 1,000 or 500, my cousin's wedding is coming up. So I think I'm gonna use it as a souvenir for the guests. I don't think my cousin's gonna like that, but he don't have a choice, and he owe me a lot. So, he said no, we have to print 3,000. I said okay, I'll try my best to help you sell. That's my first book, and I got 5 after that. All of them usually get into number 1 of the best-selling list of Thailand. I'm still waiting for the result of the 5th and 6th books. I just released this last week, right? So all of these books kind of tell me a little bit about why I wanted to do this and trying to communicate through this book, right? I have my own page. I'm not trying to sell anything here. I just want to make a point later, right? So this page has 200,000 plus people following it. It's just got received Best Blog of the Year, which is the biggest competition for bloggers in Thailand. I got to get to talk at a lot of events. This one is probably one of the events I really remember. It's a Google CXO dinner where they invited all the clients, the big ones in Thailand, like PTT, Central Group, the Mall Group, and stuff like that. And they have 4 speakers. 3 of them are original hate from Google, and the only outside speaker is me, which I'm very honored. That's last year. I also have opportunity to talk on TEDx as well, and I have my podcast, which last night is my 188 episode, so I did it every day. My podcast and the standard podcast, we kind of like racing for number 1. Some day I'm number 1, some day they're number 1 on the iTunes stores. I got about 30,000 people listening to my podcast every single day, which is kind of nice, for something I did 6 months ago. Now, all of this that I said, kind of bragging, really. I want to tell you this. After I did this for 6 years, wrote 6 books, have a fan page, doing podcasts, going out speaking like crazy people. What happened is this. It's kind of amazing, right? First of all, when you want to build a great company, you have to have great people. And it's very difficult for small companies to attract great people. But what I did kind of changed that. I did it for 6 years, and 3 months ago, or maybe a year ago, when I recruit for my new team, I got around maybe 200 resumes. Just I posting in my page, Facebook, and then some of the resumes comes from Harvard, from MIT. I even got people who work for BCG apply for my company. I did ask them for an interview, of course, asking to come in for an interview. I saw that salary and said, you could probably stay at BCG is better, I think. We cannot afford you here. But anyway, I'm interested why I use something in the resume. They said, well, they used to wrote me in the inbox. They used to listen to my podcast or, read my book or anything, So they said one thing that are important to them is not how much we can pay them, but do we have a great community and do we have a shared mission with them? So right now I'm very proud to say that my team is much smarter than me, which is a good thing, so I don't have to work a lot. That's why I can come here to talk to you guys. I normally find out this is very true. I used to be a leader I used to be a boss who kind of bossing around, like bossing everybody around. But right now, I'm more of a facilitator. I try to ask them, what kind of obstacle I can take it out so you can do your job better. So that's what I'm talking to my team right now. So it's much easier for them to work with a lot of autonomy, and for me to kind of not have to tell them every single step what to do. So talk about team, I think it's a very important part of rebranding or rebuilding any kind of company. And I think it's based on a couple of principles. The first thing that kind of culture here is feedback protocol, right? We do this officially every 6 months. Every 6 weeks. So 2 per quarter. That's official feedback session. So it's a one-on-one. You talk to your subordinates, and your subordinate feedback you feedback your subordinates and stuff like that. But we also have like informal feedback sessions as well, which is much more frequent. You may have it twice a week. We always feedback each other, and in Thai culture it's kind of interesting because when you're in Thai culture, we don't really learn to speak up. When we want to say something that might not make the other side happy, we try to kind of hold that back, right? But it's a culture. If you're trying to encourage in that, it's going to be very sticky when you first start doing it. But once you're doing it more and more, people got very easy and very comfortable giving feedback to their boss. For instance, I got a lot of feedback that people never have a chance to talk to me before if we don't implement this policy. Like, one of my intern told me that I like the way you work very much, but I think your body language is very bad. I said, how? And he said to me, I always cross my arm when I was in a meeting room. I never know that. I don't even think it's a problem, but until he told me, so I'm trying to fix that. Good thing about feedback is that it's very easy to do. It's only 3 things, basically. It's what we want the other people to start doing, to stop doing, or to continue doing. It's kind of basically that. But if you go into a book about feedback, right, they're going to have like a lot of metrics, because I think consulting company, they love metrics, right? They have to do a lot of this metrics thing, so you can you feel good when you pay them. So, like they're gonna have like this kind of metrics, like feedback, but it's really it's just what I said. Now, good things about feedback. I'm gonna skip this. Go to I want to talk about this a little bit. Okay, this comes from a book I think is probably one of the best books of all time that I have read. Right? It's called Principle. The guy who wrote this is Ray Dalio. He is the founder of Bridgewater Associates, which is like one of the, I think it's still the largest hedge fund in the world. Right? So he said, when we hire people, there are 3 parts you need to think about. The top part is value. Value is something that very difficult to change, or almost impossible to change in people. For example, integrity is value. Right? Okay. The second one is ability. Ability can change, but it's very difficult. It's the way you think, the way you do things. For example, if you're a person who always challenges the status quo, you always try to change things people did before, no matter how senior or whatever the stupid rule is, that's ability. So it's not come naturally. You cannot actually teach it, but it kind of grows in you if you want to learn. The last one is skill. Skill is something that can always be taught. For example, if everyone in this room wants to speak Chinese, we can. We might have the different pace of learning speed, but we eventually gonna be able to speak Chinese. Now, interesting thing about that is that 20 years ago, when I submitted my first job application, there's one box that you always have to put the number, right? And it's in every single company. This box asks me how fast I can type. So you have to put maybe 50 and then WPM, which come from words per minute, right? Now that's a skill, of course, because everybody asked me how fast I can type, but does that skill like relevant anymore today? No. People type very fast these days, or even though you still type very slowly, you have like Google Docs which can type for you, right? So when we hire people, the most important thing is the value, right? Then abilities, and then skill is the least important thing to think about because you can teach them. Now, what is the reality? We actually did the opposite, right? We hire for skill first. We might look at the ability a little bit, but sometimes we don't even care about what values they are. Now, if that's the case, what's going to be the problem? Okay? So I got this from McKinsey. I did a workshop with them about 3 months ago, and I asked them to give me the slides. I think it's kind of very, it's kind of self-explaining, right? The red one is hard skill, which is the skill in the other page. Soft skill is more like ability, and meta skill is value, right? So let's say one of the hottest career you can start today is to be a data scientist or data analyst. Everybody is like hiring like crazy because we only have like maybe 1,000 of them in Thailand, and every single company wants to have a big data unit, no matter they're going to use it or not, but they have to have it, right? So people are like hiring like crazy. If you put your big data analysis into your LinkedIn profile, you're going to have people call you like crazy from headhunter, right? Everybody wants to hire them. It's one of the highest paying job right now, and then I think it's going to be one of the highest paying jobs for many years. Regardless of that, big data analysis is a skill. You can learn it. You can go to school and learn it. You can be very good at it. Now, is that enough? I don't think it's enough, right? Because even though you are very good at big data analysis, you still need a lot of creativity, which is the green one. Why? You go through a lot of data every day, right? But your CEO only needs 1 page of data or 1 page of something that very visualization to you. You cannot show the whole data to him. He's not going to be able to read it. So what is the most important data, you ask? Your CEO don't know. You have to know. That's creativity. You need to go sift through a lot of data and think, oh, okay, this is kind of important. It's going to impact our sales, our revenue, our profit. So I'm going to report this to my CEO. That's creativity. That's critical thinking. And that's the green thing up there. Now, even though you have the red and the green, right, you still have to have integrity, which is the most important thing for our data analysts. Because if you don't have integrity, you might be tempting to sell this data to another company next door, right? That's going to cause a lot of trouble. You might go to jail, and your company that hired you, they're going to go into a lot of trouble. So the most important thing, if you ask me, is still the upper one, right? The yellow one. So what is that? Meta skill. Growth mindset is a meta skill. Lifelong learning, aspiration, self-direction, conflict with change, and uncertainty. All of these are very important. And it's going to get more and more important once we enter the whole AI generation thing. So when I write my book, I have a lot of chance to talk to senior executives, CEOs and stuff. I ask them one question: what is the most mistake you have ever done about hiring people or assembling a team? Right? Everybody tells me this story. I mean, almost everybody tells me this story. Right? They have this very good team, 5 people, big smile, good team, good attitude, everything. Now, the sales goes up a lot. Let's say that this is a sales team. The sales goes up a lot. They need to hire more people in a very, rush kind of manner. They got to have it in a month or 15 days. So they got this interview with one guy who looks to be a very promising salesperson, talks a lot, have a very charismatic, whatever, but he looks kind of like, I cannot think of the English word. It's when you look at his face, he doesn't look very he doesn't have it kind of seems to you that he's not that honest, right? But since you need salesperson very fast, so you hire him anyway. Now you hire him on the assumption that one like bad attitude people, it's not going to ruin your team because there are 5 good ones, right? And just only one bad one is not going to ruin your team. Never happen this way. It happens the other way around always. You got like everybody's, with a bad attitude. It's not going to be like as bad as this guy, of course, but it's going to be like maybe 20%. That's bad enough to ruin your team. So this is one of the most important lessons, I think, that I got from talking to senior executive CEO, and I even made this mistake once, and it cost me a lot of money and a lot of moral. So try not to do this. This is very, it's going to cost you a lot. The other thing I want to talk about when you do a lot of, these days, when you do a lot of exploration and you do a lot of stuff, one thing that needs to be considered is, what is failure? What is failure? And how do we treat failure? Now, interestingly, most companies, and myself as well, we treat failure as the volume or magnitude of this. Right? So say you lose 1 million baht. So this sounds like a failure, right? Losing 1 million baht. Now, if you treat all failure, all incidents that make you lose 1 million baht to be equal, you're going to have a very bad company. This is what this is an example. We have something that called a spectrum of reasons for failure. I read this from the Harvard Business Review article. So I like it a lot. Because in a company, you cannot treat all failure to be equal. That's going to be very bad for the company. And this is why. You have a failure that you probably have to fire that guy. So this is like, deviance from regulatory that governs safety, for example. This is very difficult. Smoking in a production line, for instance. This is crazy. This is not like crazy, like Steve Jobs crazy. This is crazy, right? So this guy has to go. Right? Now, inattention. Well, sounds like a failure as well, but not as big as the first one, right? Lack of ability. Now, when we send someone in and we found out that they made failure because there's lack of ability involved, we have to ask a very important question: whose fault is that? It's probably be your fault, because do you know that this guy has lack of ability beforehand? Process and adequacy. This happens a lot. A lot of things. It's not completely whole loop yet. You send people in and they fail. It's not pretty much not their fault. I think. Task challenge, something very difficult. You yourself go in, losing money. It's a huge chance already to be losing money. Now, I'm going to go on process complexities and uncertainty. Right? Uncertainty is another thing that if you send people into a country that has a huge inflation, like Venezuela, for example, and you open a branch there, you don't expect like a huge return. Right? A failure is kind of a must, I would say. But the thing that you need to celebrate, the failure that it needs to be celebrated, is the last two. It's hypothesis tasting. When you have question, you taste it. Losing money is kind of a big chance. And if you do exploratory testing, the success rate maybe 5%, you're probably going to lose money, but you learn a lot. If you treat all this failure to be the same, you're never going to have an innovation per se. Okay, so we don't have much time. I'm going to go into customer-centric thing. I want to jump you to this one because we don't have much time. Right? When we talk about customer-centric, I think one of the most important things about customer-centric is asking the right question. Do you ask the right question? Asking the right question is probably the starting point of every successful product and service in the world. So with that, I'm going to bring you to design thinking a little bit. I'm not a design thinking expert, but I like this example very much. You probably heard about it already if you read about this scientific book. Um, there's one guy, right, walking on the bank of the river, and he met another guy who is looking at the river, and he asked this guy, or you can be the first guy, right? So I asked the guy who was looking at the river, I asked, what are you doing here? He said, I think there should be a bridge here. So I asked him, do you want a bridge here? And he said, yes, I want a bridge here. Okay, there's a lot of types of bridges. They have like this one is suspension bridge, very expensive. You can make a bridge out of wood or I don't know, cement or whatever, right? But it's going to be a bridge because he wants a bridge. Is that actual? I mean, is that what he really wants? Well, he said he wants a bridge, right? But if we're more curious about this question, not building a bridge yet, we ask one more question, one more why. And we ask, why do you want a bridge? And this guy said, I want to go to the other side. And we said, oh, going to the other side, there's a lot of ways to do it, right? You can swim, you can dig a tunnel, you can use a helicopter, you can use a boat. Bridge is one of the solutions. So what do you really want? So this guy thinks a little bit and said, I want a boat. And we can tell that there's a lot of, many types of boat, right? There's a yacht, there's a rowboat, there's a submarine. What kind of boat do you want? He said, I'm going to use a rowboat. We can give him a rowboat, and he's probably going to be happy to a certain level. But if we are curious, and we ask another why, right? So we ask him, why do you want to go to the other side? And he said, oh, because I'm lonely, and my girlfriend is on the other side, and she cannot come back here. So I want to go to the other side to meet her. And then we think about this answer for a little bit, and we ask him, so okay, so you are lonely, right? You want to go see your girlfriend on the other side. So your problem is not the river. Your problem is that you're lonely. So maybe one of the easiest solutions, you don't have to row a boat through this huge river, which is very scary, and we don't have to build you a bridge, which is very expensive, is that maybe you should find a new girlfriend on this side of the river, right? And that's kind of, eye-opening. So this guy said, what solution do you have? I said, go load Tinder. That should be the easiest way. We don't need to risk your life rowing a boat to the river and don't need to build a bridge for you. So that sounds like a funny, example, but it is not. Let's think about it a little bit. I hate the Airbnb example because it's, people use it all the time, but I'm going to use it anyway. Before Airbnb era, per se, when we go to, say, Japan, right? We're going to go to Japan. Have you ever think about calling random apartment and then ask them whether you can rent their bedroom or not? No, right? No, not. Never heard of anyone did that. Maybe someone did, but never heard about it. So what do? Your whole framework is hotel, right? You can go to hostel, you can go to 6-star hotel. You can even go to the apartment that opening for renting business, so they rent it, on a regular basis. But you never thought about sleeping in other people's bedroom until Airbnb comes. And we all know the story of these days. They have 4 million plus room listing, which is like much higher than 5 of the world's largest hotel chain combined. The largest hotel chain, I think right now is Marriott. They have around maybe 1 million rooms listed. Okay, so that's about asking questions. Now, oops, what did I do? Oh, I didn't do anything. Hold on, 1 second. Okay. I think when we sell the product, we have to ask the right question because we didn't sell trend, we didn't sell technology. We might think we sell technology, but we didn't even sell attributes, right? What we did actually sell is circumstance, which is a very interesting thing. I'm going to give you one example which we all can relate it. This is Reese, right? Very popular chocolate candy. Some love them, some hate them. It's Halloween coming up, so people buy a lot of these days before Halloween. Oh, talk about Halloween. This is our topic. I have some gifts for all of you up front. It's one of our, odd, I would say odd, very challenging lipsticks color, right? So it's very suitable for Halloween season and parties. It's for example, we have like silver color lipstick. So you're not gonna wear silver to class, right? Maybe, I'm not sure. It's a good thing. Explore yourself. So anyway, pick up the gifts outside, and maybe you can use it in time for Halloween. Now, Reese is number 2. Right now, it's number 2. Second largest selling chocolate candies in the U.S. Right? So number 1 is M&M's. Now, they did always be number 2. Actually, their performance back 20 years ago is not very good, right? But there has a big incident coming up 20 years ago, I think. So when we starting asking questions, right? When you consume chocolate candies, they got a lot of answers. People consume them when they go to maybe a subway, right? Or driving, but they consume them most when they're sitting in front of all kinds of screens. TV, computer/TV, playing games, watching Netflix or whatever, right? So they consume a lot of candies in front of TVs and screens. Now, for those who didn't very familiar with Reese, it's kind of like this big. So it's kind of big, and it's had this peanut butter filling. So if you didn't actually like concentrate on eating it, the fillings kind of split out a little bit. So people, they said, I feel like it's kind of big and messy. So they released another version to fix this. Small ones, looks like Hershey Kiss. It's not. Smaller ones, you don't have, the filling problem anymore. Now people said, oh, I hate this because it's a hassle. You need to use 2 hands to open it, and it's like you're driving using 2 hands. It's not logical, right? But this is not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that it's making me guilty, right? How? When that foil, the golden foil, accumulated in front of you, right? It's kind of building this small mountain, and you have to tell yourself, oh, I really have to stop eating this, right? When you make your customer guilty of eating your product, it's very, very bad business. So, what does it do? So they ask questions. What do you want? The customer said, oh, what we want is very simple. We want something that's easy to eat, and don't make me guilty, please, right? So this is a huge innovation. They didn't actually change anything of the product. What they did is that, okay, obviously they take out the foil, but the other important thing they did is that they changed the package. Right? Reese Mini comes in, you can imagine this package, right? We use a lot these days. Now, back then, it's not that popular. Right? But what this package did is that it kind of stands still. It can stand alone on the table. So you can actually use one hand and put your hand in and put stuff in your mouth. Right? You don't have to hold it. When you don't hold anything, you cannot weigh it. You don't know how much you ate. You don't know how much left. Very good for Reese. So people eat more. Now, how good is that? This Reese Mini generated $235 million in 2 years. I think that's a pretty good innovation, right? Innovations comes this way, I think. Now, so I'm gonna leave you with one question before we dive into another section. This picture here, we have this lady put on a red lipstick and a red nail polish. Right? The question is that when people walk out of their house and want this, do they want a red lipstick, a red nail polish, or they want a red lips and a red nail? I mean, people might collect the lipsticks, right? But is that what they really want, or they just want a red lips? This is a huge question for today's world, because if they just want a red lips, this is the next new solution, which is going to disrupt the whole lipsticks industry. a 3D printing device. Right? This one is already patented by L'Oreal, and it's actually printed every day, not just lipstick, for one-time use. So if you want to look like Taylor Swift today, you can, and tomorrow maybe Kim Kardashian, if that's what you wish for. And you can change your makeup every single day, one-time use, no hassle, print at your home, render it before, whether it looks good on you or not, and then print it out. You don't need a lipstick in the conventional way anymore. This is going to happen a couple of years from now. We have to think a lot about how we logistic product to people, right? With this technology coming up. Now, since we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to skip through one of the most important things, I think. Okay, it's execution. You can have like great product, great insight, but if you have a bad execution, everything's going to be like horrible. And execution is not about just advertising. It's about everything you present to the customers, or even your teammate, or your boss. So let's look at one example. One of the greatest company in the world that make great advertising is Nike. I'm a big fan of Nike, so this is actually a real billboard. Right? Just do it. Very powerful. Has a very strong language of Nike. Now let's think about this for a little bit. If one day I join Nike as a brand manager, right, and I did one of these, cardinal sin, which is trying to set everything Nike has in this advertising billboard, which happens a lot. It happens a lot to here as well in Thailand. People trying to set things. They have like 10 good things about their product, and they're trying to put it into one ad. So if that's the mentality of Nike brand manager, this is what's going to happen. So I just appointed as a brand manager of Nike today, right? I saw this ad. I need to approve this ad before I send out. People who did this ad is my agency, right? So I pick up the phone and call my agency and said, wow, this is a wonderful and very powerful Nike ad, right? But, I need something else. And the agency asked, what do you need? I said, I think there's no logo here. Yeah, there's no logo here. Okay. All right, my agency said, okay, we're going to put the logo for you, no problem. So this is the old logo. Nike stopped using this since 1985, but I want to exaggerate things, so I decided to use this, right? And he said, this looks great. But there's no product here. We have like 1,000 products, right? Ranging from running, tennis, to golf, to streetwear. We want to promote running this year. Running is so people love running out, people come out and run like crazy this year. We have like maybe 500 events this year for marathon, right? So I want to tell my customers that I want to sell running shoes. So the agency said, okay, we put the running shoes. Okay, that's better. But, one of the most important thing about advertising is talk to right target audience, right? We learned that a lot in school. So, what is my target audience? This year, the growing number of ladies coming out to run, right? So we want to talk to women. We want to empower women. It's like the agenda of the whole 90 campaign this year. So you have to put my target audience here. And the agency said, of course, we can do that if you want. Like this, right? And I said, okay, this looks better. But, I just finished my executive MBA. And my professor said that we need to emphasize on the branding. So you only see one Nike wording here, one Nike logo here. We want to put another one in. And the agency at this point probably going to give you the file and then you do it by yourself. But this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to change the just do it sentence and put the Nike word in it. With Nike, you can just do it. Is that like horrible enough? Almost. Now, one of the most important technology of Nike is Nike Air, right? It's in Nike shoes and it's kind of, make Nike very famous these days. Now, do you know how many features Nike Air has? It's better than Adidas? 4. Since you don't know, so we want to let you know, we're going to put our product feature in there so you can know, all about our product in this billboard. This is a horrible billboard, but it happens a lot in many forms. Don't let this happen to you. Okay. Now, I have maybe one example there. Right? So let's talk about what I did. So last year, I found out that this cosmetic range for a young lady and a teenager, to be exact, is very popular. Right? So I started to do some research back then. Right? So when I talk about teenager, I literally mean teenager, which is 13 to 20. That big portion of teenager, it's still studying school, so high school. Now, high school here is much very different from high school anywhere because we have a very strict rule, right? You cannot wear makeup to school, you cannot put lipsticks on your lips and stuff. Maybe people kind of trying to break the rule, but you cannot do a lot of that anyway. So your product kind of cramped into powder and maybe, maybe 2-3 stuff, right? That's the assumption 20 years ago. It's not what happens today anymore. Now, let's dive in a little bit about what people think about makeup. Right? So I do a focus group in 8 provinces in Thailand. A lot of focus group. I cannot remember how much. There's a lot. Interesting thing is that 80% of people said pretty much the same thing. So these kids about 13, 15, in grade 9, 10, they give me this answer, which is very amazing. It's very eye-opening. When you want something good out of your research, you have to go out of your meeting room. Okay? So I start talking to this young lady, which is kind of representative of the whole group of almost every provinces. I asked her, why do you have to wear makeup to school? And she told me that, these days we're taking pictures all the time, right? And I said, yes, I'm not young anymore, but I'm still taking a lot of pictures, yeah. And she said, do you know what good picture is? Okay, let's think about this for a while, right? What is good picture? Say you take a selfie with 3 of your friends. You push maybe 10 pictures, right? What is a good picture? There's only one definition of good picture. It's the picture that you looks good, right? You look good. You don't really care about other people. Admit it. You don't even look at other people's face, right? So you swipe through your phone and I look good in this picture. You start putting app in, like changing colors and stuff. And you post it on Instagram. Now, when you post on Instagram, even though you never look at your friend's face in that picture, you're still gonna tag them, all of them, right? So this young lady told me that, okay, so if on that particular day she didn't wear makeup to school, she has this oily face and she looked like she's gonna eat a butterfly or something, so her friend's gonna post that picture anyway, and it's gonna stay in social media forever. And she said, okay, think about this. I'm now in grade 9, right? Maybe 3 years from now, there's this one guy, like Prince Chang, want to talk to me, right? What is the first thing he's gonna do? She asked me, I said, I don't know. I really don't know how the kids are doing things these days, so enlighten me. She said, okay, he's going to search me out in the internet. So what is the picture he's gonna see? It's a profile picture because that's the picture you use the most, right? No one worries about that profile picture because this is a picture that's selected from 8,000, pictures in your phone and go through maybe 12 applications. Even your mom and dad not recognize you from this picture, so no worries, right? Because you always look good on your profile picture, and all the pictures that you selected, to be in your Facebook, also look good. But smart people don't stop there. They dig it until they find this picture that your friend took, and you look horrible. You don't even look like the same person with your profile picture, right? And so this guy kind of like, turn off and then, don't want to hear this girl anymore. And he said, okay, this is not going to happen right now. It's not happened yet. But if it happens, this is an opportunity lost in my life, right? So it's a huge thing. So I'm going to answer your question. Why do I wear makeup to school? It's because it's a long-term investment. Like you buy a good stock, right? So it's a long-term investment. It's a logical thing to do. And I said, I never thought about that before. And you know what? We're building a brand, the whole brand based on this philosophy. And right now, 1 year after, it's like one of the most successful brands that we ever made in the company because we actually know what they're thinking. Right? There's a lot more details. I'm gonna show you the ad that we did on TV. So this is the ad. Sorry for those. It's a Thai ad, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult to understand, right? Hold on. Again, when you use Mac, you expect all kinds of trouble. Okay. Is that no? Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry for the foreigner here. I mean, it's kind of difficult to understand the stupid rule in school here. I know. We have a lot of rules like this. So, okay, I'm gonna have to show you this one because we just got the Silver Ad Man Award last night for this ad. I think it's also another ad that kind of we dive in to see the insights of the customers, right? So this is the original product that we have. This is one of the oldest products. And it's kind of fade away because we have all this new product coming out. And we're trying to reconnect this product back with the teenager again. So it's kind of difficult, I can tell you that, because it's an old product, it's 70 years old and people don't want to use it anymore. We're trying to find the insights. So one thing we find is that people don't feel that their face looks as good as in the morning when it goes, through, when you do a lot of activities at school. And at the end of the day, you don't feel as confident as in the morning, right? So we use this as an insight to build this ad, and we just got one of the highest award that given to Thai advertising. So this is the ad that we put on. You might be able to understand the context for those who don't understand Thai. You might be able to understand the context of this through the execution of the ad, right?
จะเป็นแนวโรงเรียนมันก็ไม่ยากหรอกแต่วันนี้แหละที่เราแกงงทำไมเราสวยไม่เท่าแกเฮ้ยใครอ่ะก็แกตอน5 โมงไงไปคัดหน้ามาเป็นไงคัดอะไรล่ะหน้าหวานขนาดนี้แต่หน้าไม่ได้หวานขนาดนี้นะเดี๋ยวนะ8 โมงวันนี้6 โมงเย็นเท่านี้ลืมไปอีกเรื่องนึงเรื่องเป็นเพราะไม่สนิทน้ำที่เหลือของแกมันก็จะหยดไม่เป็นไรงั้นเท่านี้8 โมงแม่ไปลงในห้องพยาบาล8 โมงครึ่งแล้วก็ขึ้นเรียน ไม่น่าจะเป็นหรอกมันเป็นในห้องพยาบาลแล้วเราแอบมาพึ่งไปแอบในห้องสมุดแล้วค่อยเรียนข้ามมาชี้ยกซ้ายทำสู้ดิเราจะหมาย2:20เดี๋ยวเราจะจบแบบนี้ไม่ได้ต้องแอบจะหนีเวลาคัดกรองให้ได้ทำไมบอกซะก่อนไม่จบแล้วอ่ะฟังแล้วว่าคุณแกไม่ใช่
ความหมายไว้ก่อนใช้เป็นมาสเตอร์มาสีกันแค่เสนามาสีไว้15 นาทีดูความหมายและตั้งแต่ผ่านคืนแล้วไม่มันก็สวยเท่ากันทั้งวัน
ซื้อที่ไหนอ่ะซื้อมาดีเลย12 บาท
และมาสกุมันสีกัน
นะครับ Oh, sorry. I always also this is the act that we did, right? I gonna leave you with. Okay, again, I did the same mistake again. Sorry. I gonna leave it with the last thing I did. Okay, so this one gonna be able to and very easy to understand. This is probably one of the most successful ad that we did. So after we rebranded, we changed the packaging to this one, and we start trying to sell to Thai people, and it still didn't work out because of the name. The name Srichand looks very like 80 years old. Right? So I go to one of the film director in Thailand and asked him, how can we change this? So he said, okay, no problem. We have to surprise the client. I said, how? He said, we're gonna do a TV commercial in English. Now this is gonna sound. I mean, this is very strange practice to do in Thailand because most of the people in Thailand do not really have that good comprehension of English, right? And we sell this stuff in 7-Eleven and like mom and pop stores. So our target market is a very mass market. So I asked this director, who is like one of the greatest director in Thailand. I'm going to show you this guy's face. This is the guy's face. So he tell me, right? I asked him, will my customers understand this TV ad? He said, well, maybe half of them will not understand the TV ad. And I said, is that a good strategy? He said, yeah. I mean, how's it going to be a good strategy when you show the ad and people don't understand, right? He said, well, we're going to surprise them by confusing them. And they're going to be very confused and they're going to go out and buy the product. I said, this is the strangest, like strategy ever. I mean, I read a lot of marketing books like Kotler books and stuff. I never heard of strategy to, confuse the client and then they're going to buy the product. Anyway, we kind of launched this because the time is tight and, we don't have any other option really. It's turned out to be one of the most successful TV commercial for us, and it still be a case. It is still a case study up to this day because 10 years before this, we have maybe in the whole Thai advertising industry only have maybe 5 English ads, and all of them sells expensive product. We are the first, perhaps, mass brand that used the whole English ad back then. So this is that.
This is the best news powder that we've ever had. It has the best quality pulp from Japan. The powder is translucent, so it's suitable for all skin tone. From all the products that we have ever created, this is the best oil control news powder. In your opinion, what brand do you think of? Yes, Srichand translucent powder.
Okay, so since I'm running out of time, Do we have any